everyone. This month, I was feeling, all the energies of the new moon, the new year, and this new vision that we are all holding for ourselves personally, right? As individuals, the vision that you are holding for yourself this year, but also really this new vision that we are holding for humanity, for the collective. There's a lot of talk of this, the new earth that we are building. And sometimes those conversations can feel very esoteric and out of reach. So this new year, it's a new moon in the earth sign of Capricorn. And what is the new vision that you are holding? And through this, we're going to get really specific because I know that many of you work with a seed word of the year. And if you don't, and if you're tuning in because you're curious about that, then that's wonderful. But I'm gonna, we're gonna go through, some dialogue and some. I'm gonna share about six or seven practices and rituals for you to continue to work with your seed word of the year throughout the year, right? It's not something that you just kind of decide in December or January and then forget about it. How do you keep on working with that for your own personal evolution and healing, and also planetary healing and evolution, right? So that's what we're diving into today, and I'm really excited to be having this Creatrix conversation. So welcome all of you. And in case you are new to this community and you don't know me very well, first of all, welcome. We are so glad to have you here. My name is Flora Ware, and I am a priestess, a singer, a leadership mentor, and I have been the hostess and focalizer for this sacred online space since 2016. Once a month, once every 29 and a half days, in fact, we have a new moon that is an opportunity, if we so choose, to pay attention to what we are resetting, right, in our own life, in our own habits. And often new moons are used for visioning, setting intentions, and really grounding that intention into, a manifestation, wanting to create that intention, manifest it into reality. And we all know that the Gregorian calendar that we have is a man-made construct. And yet, because it is the calendar construct that we operate within, January holds that similar energy to a new moon, because it's the first month of the year. It's that fresh start. And so that was why I chose this date, because the first new moon of a new year, it has that extra emphasis on what's being seeded. What intentions are you grounding? What are you becoming clear on? So there's so many different ways. There's no one way to work with this. And so back to talking about a seed word, I want to share my story. So again, in 2016 was the first year that I worked with a word of the year. It was a new practice to me that I'd found out about. And so in 2016, at the very, very beginning of the year, well, actually, it was right at the end of 2015. If I remember correctly, it was like December 29th, 2015, because I'd just gotten back from visiting family for Christmas and had been really stressful and harried. And some of you will have heard this story, but I was feeling tired. My son had gotten a fever. We'd had a bit of a stressful Christmas visiting time. So I was out pushing him around in his stroller, pushing around the neighborhood, and I was grumbling. I was down. I was frustrated with a lot of different things in my life. And again, like I said, I was tired. My son was only 2 at that time, maybe 3. No, I think he was still 2. And then I was basically bitching to God. Okay? I was just bitching in my mind, being like, nah, and this is this, and I don't know, I was just in a bad state. And in a moment, in my mind was saying, something has got to change. And clear as day, I heard a voice respond, my higher self, my spirit guide, an angel, however you want to describe it. But I heard the response, yeah, you. And so talk about a bitch slap from spirit or a witch slap from spirit, as it might be, because I thought, whoa. And because of that space that I was in, I tried to argue back. What do you mean I've got to change? Like, I'm a good person and I do a lot and I'm spiritual and like still wanting to be in like, no, what do you mean I've got to change? But it was so profound because I haven't had too many moments of that clairaudience where I just hear that distinctly different voice, and to have that in response when I said something's got to change. And so that was the energy and the experience that I was in at the beginning of 2016, because I very quickly, as I sat with it, realized the truth of that if I wanted my life to change, if I wanted my circumstances to change, I had to change. And so as 2016 is beginning, and I again, many of you know that I am a big fan of the Wee Moon journals. Here, I've had them since 2001. And I'm reading the beginning of my new Wee Moon journal, and the theme for the year was quantum leap. Because 2016 was a leap year. And I read their description of the theme, and I just right away felt like, yeah, that's what I want this year. I want a quantum leap. I'm gonna take that as a seed word, right? In that case, a phrase. But so I worked with quantum leap, and that was the year that I invested in starting my own business and getting the training and getting a website. And by the end of 2016, my life looked radically different. I had essentially accomplished a quantum leap in many different respects. And so I went into 2017 and I was like, yeah, and at that point I'm like really into mindset work, and I'm working on my success mindset, and I'm doing EFT tapping every day, and I'm doing like manifestation success journaling, and I'm just doing all the things. And so I go into 2017 and I thought, what would be my ultimate dream? And it would be to be able to quit my job and go full time with my business, which at that point was such a far off reality, right? It didn't seem like that would be possible at all. But when I distilled that down, what I really wanted was freedom. So going into 2017, I worked with freedom, and I didn't know how. I just knew that that's what I wanted. Freedom, freedom, freedom. Well, by June, we found out that our property value of our condo had skyrocketed in the area that we were in, a suburb of Vancouver. And we decided to take the leap. We sold. We moved to the Okanagan, where I'm here now in Vernon, British Columbia, Canada, and went full time with my business. But at the beginning of the year, I had no idea that would be how that I would do it. And what that allowed me to do was accomplish my other goal, to be debt-free, freedom, financial freedom by 40. Literally 1 month before my 40th birthday in October, we'd completely paid off our student loans. So I'd achieved my freedom from my job that I didn't want anymore, freedom from the city where I didn't want to live anymore, and freedom from debt. And so you better believe at this point, I was like, this works, okay? So I went into 2018 and I chose expansion. And I worked with an amazing business coach that year. And I, really, because I was working full time and I was just expansion. And I was, getting speaking opportunities, and I was growing this community and everything. And, wow. Yeah, thank you. Celebration. I really I achieved expansion. And then there was a shift from 2018 into 2019. Because I was ready and able to make the commitment to go into a deeper level of initiation and training with the priestess lineage that I'm a part of. And I was beginning a year-long training for 2019. And so I came to this place where I realized that up until that point, I'd been choosing my word of the year with my mind, with my personality, you know, or with my ego, right? All of that. I was choosing because I wanted that. I wanted a quantum leap. I wanted freedom. I wanted expansion. Do you see like that? What I mean? So instead, I decided to let my intuition decide, not my mind, not my personality. I decided to let my soul and my intuition tell me, to reveal to me, to let my word of the year choose me rather than me choosing my word. You see the difference there? And what came through for 2019 was devotion. And of course, that made so much sense because, like I said, I was going into a deeper level of initiatory training. I was really becoming more devoted to my priestess path. I was at that point where I was realizing I'm not a coach. I was trying to be a coach, right? I thought, aren't I in the online coaching industry now? No, I'm not a coach. I'm a priestess. I'm a witch. I'm a magician. I'm a writer. I'm a singer. You know, all these other things. So devotion to that truth, to that path. And then for 2020, and again, I know that I've told this story, but the word that revealed itself to me for 2020 was trust. And I didn't want trust. I didn't even know how to do trust. This is the thing, because my spirit was talking to me, not my mind, not my ego. Oh, okay, trust kept on coming up. All right, trust. So I did. And I can tell you, 2020 was the most incredible year with many, many opportunities for me to work with trust. And even though part of me didn't want it, right? Like my ego was struggling against it. I don't want trust. What's trust? Why is trust important? Not realizing that the soul was saying trust is pretty important. So 2020 ended up being, despite everything, a really extraordinary year. And a lot of it was because of my deepening trust in myself, in spirit, in life, in my, in my continued ability to create. And so for 2021, here I am, and the word that has revealed itself, and again, I'm in a bit of I'm not so sure, is presence. So I'm already being initiated in all the ways that I feel like my presence isn't enough. Even that presence as a word of the year isn't enough. And directly looking at my woundings of not enoughness. And realizing already at the start of this year that my presence and being present and helping through my sacred work, that for more people to be present. The presence is what we need in the world. And so this is where it goes transpersonal, right? Yeah. What is the word that has come to you? And then you can just sit with it for yourself. Did you choose it from your logical mind, from your more of your personality, or did it choose you? So again, no judgment if you feel like, oh yeah, I did really choose that because I wanted that. That's really okay. And in fact, maybe you don't even have to, you can still work with that. Like I said, it worked for me really well for 3 years when I was on a manifesting like mojo streak, right? Like I was wanting to radically change my life and circumstances and my work. And so it worked. So it's okay. But maybe you want to see if you can have a second word revealed to you in a more intuitive way. Or maybe from that word that you've chosen, you can actually distill it into something else that's even closer to the essence of what it is that you really desire. One of like a synonym that's maybe has a bit of a different energy to it, right? So just think about that. So here we are. We're going to jump into now different practices and rituals for you to work with this seed of the year throughout the year, but in particular now, as you're really grounding in this new year and this new vision, this word on this new moon, all the new, we want to ground it in, right? So first of all, my go-to practice is always journaling. So number 1, journal. If you haven't yet, journal about your word. Write out all of your thoughts and feelings about that word. And like the positive and negative, like for me, it's like, really, presence. Like, I don't know why, you know, and why do I have such a resistance to presence? Is it because of this? Just free form, journal it out. All of what's coming up for you with this word, what this word makes you think of, what it brings up, all of that, and how you perhaps see this word capturing the essence of some things that you're wanting to create in the year, right? Beautiful. So definitely journal. Get out your pen and paper and write it out. And also write out that word, you know, and just really, and sit with it, or the words, right? So number 1, journal. Number 2, meditate, of course. Meditate, do some practice, even if it's a walking meditation, a moving meditation, like a walk in nature where you're really intentionally quieting your mind so that you're doing a walking meditation, or sacred ecstatic dance. So it can be a moving meditation or a sitting meditation, as long as you have the intention to quiet your mind and to listen to the wisdom and the insights from a deeper place, your heart, your belly womb, right? We do the practices over and over in here of dropping out of the mind, right? So when you meditate and you ground your energy, you calm and quiet your mind, and then you can ask your higher self, your spirit guides, or, you know, angels, or maybe a particular deity or ascended master that you work with, right? Whatever your experience is, your comfort level, at the very least, you're asking your own intuition, right? Really, you're asking your own intuition, or what some people call higher self, or the oversoul, right? There's lots of different names for it, but it doesn't need to be confusing or even scary. You just, from that place of grounded energy and clear, quiet mind, you ask from a deeper place to reveal more to you about your word. You simply ask, like, can I receive a message more about working with this word? And you might receive visually if you're a visual person, right? Sister Tiffany here shared that on this new moon, she received a symbol, right? So she saw a symbol. You might see another kind of image. You might see a color, or you might hear something. You might not really see it, but you might hear, like I shared about my story. Sometimes my higher self, very clear, and I can hear. You might hear a message. You might remember a memory. A seemingly random memory suddenly comes up when you ask that question, and that is your clue. You might feel a sensation. There's all sorts of different ways that you might receive that message. So I don't want you to think that if you're not a visual person, that if you get suddenly like body tingles and a whole sensation, that's how you're receiving. So stay with that and do that. See what's revealed, right? From that meditative state. Number 3, bring your word into more visual for the year. So I can't bring it down because it's pretty much attached to my wall. But so I have my dream board here on the wall. And so I always have my word of the year in big, and I do it with like a colored marker. And so right there at the top, it says presence, right? So bring it into your real life. You could create something in Canva to have it as your lock screen. You could create something to have as your wallpaper on your computer that has your word in it, or you could put it on a piece of paper and tape it to the cover of your journal, and then you're always being visually reminded of your word and everything else that it represents for you, right? Because it's so much more than just a word at this point, right? Like you're working with this as a seed of transformation, like I said earlier, for both personal and planetary evolution, personal and planetary healing. So you want to remind yourself of it some ways. And so having a visual reminder, even if it's like that Post-it note somewhere, that's a really, I think it's a really effective and a really important piece to have those daily visual reminders. Okay, number 4. Number 4 is to change your password in some places that you regularly log onto, and to actually not set it to just like have your computer passkey remember it all the time, but for you to actually have to punch it in, right? To type it in. So this is really like, you're going to be repeatedly reminded of that in a different way, where you're having to type it in. And here's the funny thing too. And again, some of you will have heard this story. Trust as a 5-letter word is not long enough for a lot of things that want like an 8-character password, right? So when I was changing my password in a couple places last year, I was like, oh, what am I going to do? And I'll add 2020. So all year, all through COVID, all through the riots in the US, all through the mayhem and the challenges and everything, every day, multiple times a day, I'm having to type in trust 2020. Trust 2020. Okay. Trust 2020. Right. Yeah, exactly, Katie. And you don't need to do it for all your passwords. I'm just saying like 1 or 2 key places to remind you, right? Number 5. All right, this one's fun. So number 5 is get creative. Now, yeah, I'm going to show you these ones. So get creative and do some art. Do some art, write a poem or a song, paint or draw a picture, and expand beyond your your word. And so this was a collage that I did for last year that captured so many beautiful images and messages that I wanted for my year, for 2020. And again, and then I have it on my shelf above my computer that I look at pretty much every day. If you're not, now again, but before anyone asks, the reason that I have such amazing art is again because of the Wee Moon journals that I've been collecting for almost 20 years. So if getting out the scissors and the glue sticks and the other stuff isn't your thing, then again, go to Canva or go to any other like photo collage maker. There's so many different things. Or, like I said, paint or draw a picture, write a poem or a song. This is one of my collages for this year. So I actually have done 2 collages this year that held different intentions. These are they're intention collages, and I love doing them in January or December at the end of the year. So anyway, just wanted to share my collages and to think about ways that you can creatively, like, bring out your creativity and have that word of your year in there, or images and other things that capture the essence of it. Yeah. Thanks, Tiffany. Yeah, but like I said, if you know that you're not going to actually like get out some magazines and glue sticks, then find another way to do it digitally. Pinterest, you could create a Pinterest board, right? That's another option. So there's lots of fun ways to do that. Okay, the 6th practice ritual that you can do is working with moon magic and cycles throughout the year, right? Now, if you stick around in this community, if you continue hanging out with me, then I will be your reminder, right? Because as we move through the wheel of the year, Holy Day online ceremonies, you know, I'm gonna be reminding you, like, how are your seeds growing? How does your garden grow? Or, you know, like remembering back to January when we're halfway through the year, remembering back to the beginning of the year. So, however, if you know, you don't need me necessarily, because we've got the moon. And that's what I was saying earlier. We have the moon, La Luna, to remind us, to keep us in a rhythm every 29 days. Here's the other thing, when you really get into cyclic living and rhythms and cycles, you see patterns, right? And so today is the Capricorn New Moon. Like, we're still, the new moon is still in Capricorn. So it'll be interesting to see where you're at on the Capricorn full moon. That's happening in 6 months. At the, you know, towards the end of June, the Capricorn full moon, it's happening a few days after the summer solstice. And then you kind of think, because, and this is also why keeping a journal is so amazing, because on that Capricorn full moon, you can flip back and you're like, oh yeah, so what intentions did I set, or what was I struggling with, or what was I celebrating on the Capricorn new moon back in January? Because new moons and full moons are always 6 months apart, right? They're always in the opposite signs, opposite sun signs, in case you don't know that. So this is just, you know, you can, again though, if you're really not a journaler and you're thinking, ugh, I don't want to journal, then that's not for you, and it's okay. It's really okay. But this is for anyone who already journals, and to think of, like, yeah, do you ever look back and then you see the patterns? And certainly when astrologers start to say, oh, we're in a certain transit right now and things are happening, and this harkens back to the same transit that happened in whatever it is. It's often it's really fascinating to think back, oh, what was I going through back in whatever it was? And can I see a similar theme? Can I see a similar pattern? Yeah, working with the 6-month moon cycles are so powerful and great markers. So that's it. The cyclic living is attunement to cycles and patterns. And it gives you that broader, big picture view. That's what I think. And that's why cyclic living is one of the 7 portals of sacred feminine embodiment. In my opinion, I believe that cyclic living is a very important pathway to sacred feminine embodiment. And if you're interested in more about the sacred feminine embodiment, that is the basis of my You Are the Temple program. And there's 7 portals in that You Are the Temple program. And this is a self-study online video course. And I had a special introductory price going in November and December of $77 only, and you have lifetime access to this program, or a payment plan of 2 times 40. And what I've decided is that I'm going to continue that special introductory price for the next month, at least, of this year. So I'll drop the link in here a little bit later. That's my invitation to you. If you are wanting some really tangible guidance in some practices that will keep you in alignment, and also in that embodiment of, you know, for me, our spirituality is incomplete if it's not really embodied in our lives. And if our spirituality is just kind of in our head and we like think about it, for me anyway, that's it feels incomplete. You want to really embody it. Oh, thank you, Anne. Yes, so great. So it's 7 portals of sacred feminine embodiment. You will explore the 7 chakra and archetypes, and you get 7 guided meditations as well, as the 7 videos. And right now I'm continuing the special price of $77. It's all about the 7s, that one. So that's my invitation there. Okay, thank you so much. So I guess actually, because we're talking about sevens, I'm going to make a seventh, because I didn't speak to that, although someone already commented. The seventh practice to work with your word of the year is through oracle cards. Yeah. So if you have a favorite deck, or just doing that, and if you're the kind of person that pulls cards all of the time, and like almost every day you pull a card, then great. But if you're someone that maybe thinks like, oh, I don't, like, could I work with it more intentionally, or it just kind of sits there and gets dusty, then maybe you can make the new moon a special time. That's the thing. Maybe if you just like, you know, flip over a card all the time, okay, that's great. You get a card of the day, and there's nothing wrong with that, right? And I do that all the time. But maybe you can make the new moon your time where you really do an oracle reading for yourself. Do you know what I mean? The difference? Like you light a candle and you maybe do a bigger spread, a longer reading. You know, you really get yourself in the mood, you know what I mean? Rather than just the quick pull. And then you have that beautiful, you're gifting yourself that beautiful sacred time and this ritual every new moon. Within the first 3 days of the new moon, by the way, it doesn't have to be on that first night. Within the first 3 days is totally fine. Even the first week, the beginning of the stage, but you're giving yourself that beautiful sacred time and ritual to do the oracle reading, to also drop in a meditation, to listen for guidance, to write in your journal, all of that, and to think about, okay, what's in this next cycle ahead? How does this cycle fit into the larger cycle? How is what's coming up for me right now? How do I see it within the context of the bigger, you know, overview? All of that. All right. I feel like I've been talking for long enough today. Thank you all, beautiful sisters, for tuning in. If you have any questions about working with your word of the year, or different things about moon rituals, or if you have any questions about the You Are the Temple program, please put them in the comments here, or feel free to message me directly. Tag me in a comment if you want to make sure that I see it. It's all a practice. I think I'll end on this. It's all a practice. You know, it's magic. We're making it up. We're the magic. We're playing, right? So there's no right or wrong way. And try something new. You know, if you always meditate, like meditation, you got meditation down, try something new, right? If you always, I don't know, make a collage, right? If collages are no big deal, then write a poem. Maybe that's your edge, right? Oh, thank you, Leela. Lots of fun today. So happy, blessed new moon, new year, as we hold a new vision for our personal and planetary evolution, feeling it and knowing that each one of you is holding an important and illuminated thread that's being woven into the tapestry of this new world that we are creating. And we are creating it through our consciousness, through our caring hearts, and I have to laugh, but we are creating a new world through our presence, through our loving, powerful presence. Blessed be.